All right, we're live and welcome to Being Well Health. Um, I wanted to come on and give an update on my personal experience with keto and intermittent fasting and the effects that it has had on my health. The inflammation, basically, is what I boil it down to. And so I've grew up and I have it's one of the most viewed on my channel videos that I posted last year. It's a video about my personal experience with keto and intermittent fasting and how doing keto and intermittent fasting has affected asthma and sinusitis and things like that. And it has had a profound effect in my life. As a matter of fact, started doing keto and intermittent fasting back in July 2017. It was July 4th, 2017. I was on vacation with my family, and first time I drank black coffee was on that day, because I was putting in a regimen of intermittent fasting and doing some of the research, found out that, hey, drinking non-caloric caffeinated drinks would help you get through that first phase of intermittent fasting and getting used to it and all of that. Because I was on the regular standard American diet, regular regimen of eating, 3 times a day, snacks in between, all of that, and just living a life of an inflamed body. My nostrils or my lungs were inflamed, sinuses were inflamed, joints were inflamed, everything was inflamed. And I didn't start keto and intermittent fasting for solving that problem. Didn't even know it would. I hadn't done the research about that yet. But at the end of the day, it did. It solved that problem for me. I was on, as I told you before, medications, right? Flonase, the Albuterol. I was managing, like most of us have to do when we are dealing with ailments or issues or illnesses or diseases, where we are not really given any hope to come, to get any relief. It's just, I guess, promoted as something that will be chronically a problem for you all the rest of your life. And so I no longer believe that, because I've personally done it with my own life. So I was started doing keto and intermittent fasting for vain reasons. Uh, I mean, of course, it was about health and getting in shape. But again, my son walked across the kitchen one day without his shirt on, and he had abs like I used to have when I was in high school. And after no longer being in high school, I didn't have those abs anymore after I reached about the age of 40. And I wanted them back after I saw him. He was my inspiration to get back in the gym and to get it going again. And I'd never really left exercise and things like that. I was always in the gym previously, just not really getting the results that I wanted. And something changed when I saw him, and when I started reading about keto and intermittent fasting. I started applying this concept of progressive overload. That's really a concept of weightlifting, but I took that concept and applied it to the rest of my life as well. Uh, and it changed everything, right? What I mean by that is, it's kind of like, instead of, if you don't know how to swim, there's no need for you to jump off into the deep end of the pool, because you're going to spend most of your time trying to get out, being terrified. And when you do get out, you're going to be fearful to go back in again. Right. So, and that's what we do a lot of times with these diet changes or these life changes, is we'll read a book and we'll jump all in, and we don't know what we're doing. It's not working. It's increasing stress and anxiety and fear. And then we say, you know what, I'm just going to go back to what I know. And anytime somebody brings that thing up again, they say something about keto, they say something about low carb, they say something about weightlifting. It creates that feeling again, and we're like, nope, try that, not going to do that. Nope, jumped in the deep end. Try that, almost drowned, not doing that again. And we don't even consider that maybe you can just walk out into the shallow end and try. And then if you're not making, you just stand up, right? It won't the fear won't be there. It'll eventually dissipate over time as you conquer, the thing that you're trying to do. So the concept is do a little bit at a time, right? If you're going to fast, right, don't jump in and try to do 24 hours or 40 hours um, or 7 days, 3 days. Don't do that, right? If you're used to eating at 7 a.m., then push it out to 8 a.m. All right, when you get up, don't go right away and eat. Push it out to 8 a.m. and do that for a while, and then to 10 and do that for a while, and your body gradually gets used to it. I employed this concept when I was starting the diet, starting the fasting, and have easily maintained it for 3 years, whereas before I couldn't do it at all for a long period of time. It was always jump in and jump out, and it was a yo-yo effect where you jump in and you do it, and then the rest of the year you're not doing anything. So you do it for 7 days, 40 days, 40 hours, 21 hours, whatever it is, and then for the rest of the year you're back to your old habits, and your body has pretty much forgotten about it. And now you weigh more than you did when you started, and so the next time you fast, you're not going to be as effective, right? Because you're gaining weight from year to year to year instead of a coming off. Right. So, but I've gotten sidetracked now. Let's get back to the inflamed results, or the results of keto and intermittent fasting on the asthma and on the sinusitis. So last year, I cannot remember an episode of asthma or sinusitis. It's a third year without any type of medication, no Flonase, no Nasacort. Wouldn't do those anyway because they cause inflammation in me, right? And well, let's put it this way: they cause urinary tract infections in me. I wonder if I can block this. Give me a second. Yeah, that's better. So they cause urinary tract infections in me, and I'll tell you what: if you never had a urinary tract infection, um, you would rather have sinusitis or rather deal with asthma than to deal with that, because a urinary tract infection can kill you. It is an infection, and untreated, it will be fatal. And it's worse than the flu or many other things that you might go through. It feels terrible. They talk about keto flu when you try to go low carb or try to do keto or fasting. Doesn't compare to what you feel when you're dealing with a urinary tract infection. Just doesn't compare. So I had decided before I went keto and intermittent and started doing intermittent fasting that I wasn't going to do Flonase anymore. Eventually, I found out about 2 years into that treatment, because I was managing um, asthma and sinusitis with medication. I was using Flonase and using albuterol. So the albuterol is the rescue inhaler. So when you're really finding it tough to breathe, you can take a couple of puffs of a albuterol rescue inhaler, and it'll open up your lungs. And the Flonase is what clears up your sinuses so you can breathe through your nostrils, right? So most of my life, I lived it with not being able to breathe through my nostrils. I was a mouth breather. I couldn't go to sleep at night without my mouth being open, because that's how I had to breathe. And there's all other kinds of problems that come with that. And to date, 3 years in, after some time in that first year, I do not sleep with my mouth open ever. It's never a problem. So much better quality of life where that's concerned. So that's the update, guys. 3 years in, 2017 to 18, 19, 20, almost 4 years. It will be 4 years in the middle of the year, July 4th, my Independence Day. Yay. And it's coming. And so, yeah, living a life without the medications to manage your asthma or manage your sinusitis, and doing it through diet, um, and not eating, through fasting, um, it it makes everything better. It empowers you to do more. I started working out fasted, um, stronger than I've ever been. And again, I said I used the term progressive overload, and that is a weightlifting term. It may be used in other arenas or fields, but that's how I came to know it. And so I use the concept in fasting. Progressive really is the word, versus just jumping all in and trying to do, 40 days when I've never done one. Um, just changing the habit just a little bit. Do an hour, then do 2 hours, then do one day, then do 3 days. Right? That's that will allow you to sustain. That will allow you to continue. That will allow you to become a lifelong practicer. That will allow it to become a part of who you are, to the point where you can share it with others and be confident about it, which is kind of where I am now in my journey of keto and intermittent fasting. I have no problems fasting for 16 hours, for 18 hours, 24 hours, even 48 hours, and feeling good and still being able to go to the gym and hit it hard, even in that state. Right? I call that stacking. I have a program called the Accelerate Protocol, where I just took everything that I did and that I do even to this day and systematized it. That's how my brain works. I work in systems. Um, and then that's how I help others. Right? Then people come to me and talk to me about how I did what I did and how they could do it too. And so I just packaged it. There is a progression, to me getting to that point. But I'm there now. And so if you are interested and want to know how you too can eliminate inflammation in your body, that can come in many forms. I'm a certified keto. I call myself, or my not myself. My wife calls me the keto evangelist, but I am certified in keto and intermittent fasting. There are some wonderful resources online. There's a lady called Maria Emmerich. Her stuff is awesome. It's great. I'm a part of her community. Got certified in the way that she teaches keto and intermittent fasting, and I've incorporated a lot of what she teaches in what I do as well. Her cookbooks are great. I have never made anything in her cookbook that wasn't delicious, and it's all keto food, keto friendly food. So you can pretty much still have a lot of the foods that you've had before, and have it as a keto-fied version of it. Um, some of it won't necessarily taste the exact same at first, but your palate will change. Your taste buds change. You adapt. That's the beauty of us as humans. We are some of the most adaptable uh, things on the planet, and yet it becomes our problem when we don't want to adapt. Right? When your belief system, or when your way of doing things gets to a place where it no longer serves you, then it's time to change. My uh, I told you my story of watching my son after I'm 40 plus years old. He's in his teens and he's cut and all sharp, and I'm not. That's a point where what I used to do isn't serving me like it used to serve me. Right? There are people my age that were not, getting to that point, that were doing well, that were had, sharp, sexy bodies. And so I figured some of the beliefs and understanding that I had wasn't serving me the way I wanted them to anymore. So I had to change. I still remember hearing about keto that, hey, you can eat fat to lose fat. Thought that was the dumbest thing I'd ever heard in my life. That was a belief that I was holding, but I had to look at it and say, well, what I'm doing isn't getting me where I want to be. So maybe there's something to this, right? Maybe I'm needing to replace something I believe with something new. And it was absolutely the case. It was absolutely the case. And now what I believe is that we should live a life of fasting and feasting. We should allow our bodies to rest, and there's a time for us to indulge and enjoy the food that we bring to the table. All right, so that's the update for me in terms of the inflammation that I've lived with my whole life. I haven't lived with it for the last 3 years, and it's just getting better and better every single year. Haven't used asthma medication in 3 years. Haven't used sinus medication in 3 years, and that's the one that really is I'm just excited about the most. Yes, definitely the being able to breathe so that you can live is awesome, but then being able to close your mouth at night and go to sleep and breathe through both nostrils. I don't know. It's just the greatest feeling in the world. If you've never had to deal with it, you probably don't get it. Um, but those of you who do live with it, I know you get it. I know you get it. All right. So that's my update. Uh, you can get in touch with me through my YouTube channel here, or you can drop a note. Join the club at beingwellhealth.com. Um, Also out at keto.if on Instagram. And if you're on Facebook, you can find us at Being Well Today. One of these days, I'm probably going to change everything to the same name, but right now, that's where you can find me. I'll drop some comments, or it'll be in the notes under the video, under the live today. All right, so it's been good. It's been fun, and we'll see you guys again on the next live. Peace and hair grease.